Fall is here, the air's crisp, the coffee's pumpkined, and your ride, well, it's still squeaking like a haunted house. Time to drive into fall at Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Route 96 in Victor, where they've got deals hotter than your neighbor's bonfire. Right now, you can lease a new 2025 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4 for just $269 a month for 24 months. That's right, get into something safe, stylish, and way more reliable than your cousin's "trust me, it'll make it" car. Or maybe you're the adventurous type. How about the 2025 Jeep Wrangler 4-door Sport S 4x4? Lease it for just $319 a month for 36 months. Perfect for leaf peeping, apple picking, or making an epic grocery store entrance. Need something with muscle? Grab the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4, just $299 a month for 42 months, because hauling, towing, and looking awesome are kind of what it does. All leases come with first payment, DMV taxes and fees due at signing, $2,500 cash or trade, and lease loyalty required. Miles vary, so, don't drive to, Alaska. So whether you're conquering trails, jobs, or the school drop-off lane, Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram's Drive Into Fall event has your perfect ride. See them today on Route 96 in Victor, or hit them up online at victorcdjr.com. Because this fall, the only thing you should be falling for is a brand new ride.
When your old career gives you lemons, throw in some ice, mix in some vodka, and call it a podcast. From the Mac of All Trades studio in Fairport, and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, it's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome. I'm solo from my solo cup. I don't even know what that means. I told you I was going to do these once in a while. So this is a solo one, and it won't be as expansive as our other episodes. But I thought it'd be interesting to come in here and kind of tell you some stuff. Somebody said I should be kind of keeping a diary of things, and this might be a way to sort of do that. Every once in a while, I'll pop in and we'll just do the diaries. Because there's a lot happening, man. I got to tell you, and I'll start with here's where I'll start. I think every one of us in life has something that comes up that scares us and excites us, and I guess it kind of becomes that fork in the road, right? You can go one way or the other. Now, I'm saying. I used to say, if it scares me, I'm going to do it. And I've been like that pretty much my whole life. Just like, I don't stop to weigh the pros and cons, because if I do, I know I'm not going to do it, right? So but now I'm thinking, if it scares you and excites you, because all these things that I did all my life, and what I'm talking about is stupid shit like, hey, how about we climb up on the roof, strip completely naked, and we'll jump into, we call them bottle cap pools, but pools that were 3.5, 4 feet deep, right? Off the roof of the house, a 2-story house. So those are like dumb things to do, but it excited me. I like that. I love sort of, in a way, I don't know that I live on the edge. I'm not a F1 driver, but that's living on the edge. But I think I could have gotten there. I mean, in some way, I have this fucked up ability to just uber calm myself at times. And so there's that. And, I'm jumping off bridges as kids, we're all partying and drinking, and somebody says, hey, we should jump in, and these girls jump in. So, of course, who's next naked into the creek? Me. But you never stop to go, hey, there could be a rock that we can't see. It's dark out. Who knows if there is somebody's old fishing line. You're going to get a hook. There's all kinds of shit that your parents, and as parents, we would say to our kids, right? But I think that sometimes we hold ourselves back from maybe living our full life. I think there's two things that I'm learning that we do that holds us back from our full life. And that's why when the opportunity came up, and Dr. Rob Rice was in here and kind of explained it, for me to go back and get a master's degree in mental health counseling, I had that moment, right? But it excited me. Like, hey, an opportunity to learn something new. It's something that I feel like I have a lot of transferable skills, even from radio and stuff, and I'll explain kind of how that works. All I'm saying to you is if there's something that both excites you and scares you, do it. Fucking do it. You know? And it doesn't have to be something like going down to the drag strip. You know, my buddy, hey, we rented out the drag strip for the day. We got a bunch of cars. You want to come down? And I've never drag raced in an official drag strip. So to go down there and you know, top out 160, 140, whatever, is thrilling. It's also scary. You could lose your shit and go into the, I don't think about those things. But what I'm saying is that there's something that excites you and scares you, do it. Like if somebody says to you, hey, we should go to, let's go to Zurich or Switzerland. Let's go to Zurich and let's ski. And you're like, oh God, that would be so amazing. But I can't. But find a way. Find a fucking way. Go do it, because those are the things you're going to remember in life. So when it came to the grad school thing for me, I didn't sit down. It wasn't like I had been planning for months. Here's my next move. I'm going to do this, and we're researching school. I didn't at all. It just came about. And sometimes I also think like, well, maybe if we believe in the proverbial signs, that's the sign, right? So I'm in this class. I'm in these classes now. We're past midterms. I think I did pretty good. The month of November is going to be a ton of work, and there's also these group projects and things. And you got to remember, like, I've been very honest about my age and stuff throughout my life. I'm 54 years old. Kind of an odd time to go back to school, right? You would think, even how do you learn and how do you go back? The great thing is that throughout my radio career and even the podcast, I've had to do so much prep and memorize so much stuff and learn things I didn't know that it's second nature to me. I can like bang. It's like remembering a comedy set, right? There are things you're going to forget, but for the most part, I figured I could walk through this and be okay. Now's when it comes to crunch time, and my sister, who has a doctorate, said to me, now you see why I always hated Thanksgiving, because everything was due at once, and everything is due at once. But here's the weird part is that in this mental health master's degree, I'm saying it wrong, there are majority women. And there are guys, and there's some guys, I don't know if they're exactly about my age, a couple of them. But I wind up in groups, like you have group projects and things, with all women. And I have to tell you, honestly, I mean, many of you know my story and how the podcast began. And I don't know, sometimes I'm afraid to open my mouth. Not afraid. Well, I guess afraid would be the word, because I'm not scared and excited. I'm just scared. So I would not, there are times I don't really want to say anything in there because I'm afraid that what I'm going to say may be seen as offensive, or what I'm going to say is going to be like the old guy taking over. And I don't want to be that person. So I've stayed a little quiet, and somebody kind of got on my ass a little bit last week. It's like, we need to hear from you. But it's all women. Some in this group who have said, you remind me of my dad. It's just like, okay. I hope your dad's a real cool guy. But so that's kind of where I'm at with all this stuff, and things are dialing up. But I am enjoying it, and I am learning a lot. And I think we're finding a path to keep things kind of going in a good direction, but keep things going. Keep things going here, keep things going at home, and just finding that way. I will tell you that one of the things that I have used, and you've heard me on the other podcast, or on the other podcast, this is the podcast, this is Billified. You've heard me say that I've been thinking a lot about Bill Lightman, and I'll explain that in a second too. You heard me say that I've been taking Adderall. So I got my own prescription for Adderall, and they're 20 milligrams. And man, it was like, I took that. I felt like I was clenching my jaw, and I don't know, like at the end of the day, I was kind of like annoyed and kind of on edge a little bit. And I didn't really like it. It didn't feel as good as the ones I borrowed from a friend who had 10 milligrams slow release. So I was thinking of calling and changing it and blah, blah. And I felt like my hand swole one day, my blood pressure was up. So I bought a pill cutter because I could never cut pills in half properly. So I've been splitting these in half and taking half an Addy every day. I call them Addies now because I'm an addict. And I also do my flu bomb thing. Now, my flu bomb is where I take, raw ginger root. I put it through a garlic press. I take some big clove of garlic. I squeeze that in there. I add in full lemon, squeeze the juice in. I put in some honey, a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and then in warm water, I mix that shit up and shoot it down. It's like a boom. And the reason I did that is when I was going to the doctor, they kept saying to me a couple of years ago, like, your blood pressure is sort of borderline. Well, it's a little high. We should watch it, blah, blah, blah. And then I started doing that, and I'm telling you, garlic is the antibiotic that you need. I mean, that's like the natural remedy. God darn. My blood pressure was great. So I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll start doing that twice a day. And as it turns out, probably smart, because somebody from one of my groups says they have strep throat, and and everything's going around, right? The seasons are starting to change. We're getting in that time. You're getting your alerts on your phone about come in and get your flu vaccine. So I would say try that. Try the flu bomb. Let me give you something else. I think that I have learned more about myself. Right? Do we ever really truly know ourselves? We become the identity of our job. I'm a sales rep. I become the identity of, who I am. I'm a doctor. I'm a whatever. And that's not who you are. That's what you do. Who you are is the loving human being, capable of loving, right? Whatever. But we put on masks and we do things. So one of the things I would say, you want to live, like really live, feel like you're alive. And I think there's a lot of people, we get caught up, especially now, a lot of negativity in the world, a lot of people angry about stuff. You've got social media that takes you out of the present moment. You can be you could be talking to someone trying to stay present, and they could be having a conversation on an app you're not even aware of yet with somebody not in that room, and you don't know if they're really paying attention. You feel like they are, but everybody's going a million different places, and sometimes you start to feel like you're maybe dead inside. That's the term that I've heard from people. And I think one of the things that I've learned about myself, and it was affirmed for me today, is that I have avoided feelings my entire life. I used to joke and say I have no nerve endings because I wouldn't really get emotional and stuff about a lot of things. I mean, you would, right? There are certain things you would get emotional, but to really, truly like feel things, I think that's what keeps us alive. I've often said on the podcast, why do we like music? Why is music so important to us? Why are there certain things that you listen to and go, God, that's such a piece of shit song, but I love it. Why? Because there's a feeling attached to it. There was a time in my life that song brings me back to that was wonderful, or maybe not so wonderful. But we have feelings. Feelings are all we really have when you think of it at the end of the day. How does something make me feel? And in order to live fully, you've got to feel. You've got to feel all of it. And I think that when you get to the end of your life, and I certainly hope I'm not close to that yet, that you say, boy, if I could just go back and feel that, even that heartbreak, just one more day to know I'm alive. A relationship ends. And I've been reading, we have to read this book and write a reflection paper. So I do it, and the feedback comes back from the professor. Great technical analysis, blah, blah, blah. I think your insights are really good on the book itself, but this was a reflection paper, and I didn't feel like I walked away learning much about you. Why? And I think it's a rhetorical why, or maybe I'm adding the why now, but the reason is I have always, and I've realized this, and I'm going to be rawly honest with you, and hopefully you'll stick with me, and maybe you'll be able to relate to it. I have avoided feelings pretty much my entire life. My entire life. I've been very open about being sexually molested by a babysitter, male, when I was 6 years old. And 7 years old, actually. I was 7. 7 years old. And I never paid attention to the ripple effects of what that did to my life and how that made me feel about myself, how others perceived me, all that stuff. And I know it sounds like, here we go, mental health counseling guy. I think at some point, and I'm going to give you my examples as to why. I never really, I don't think I've, to this day, where people go, I've dealt with it, I've faced it, I've talked about it. I don't know that I've ever really dealt with it. I'm not sure I know how to deal with it. I do go to counseling myself, but I don't know that I know how to deal with it. I'm reading this book, and it was really about, it's like all the things that we all do, right? And how we suppress it down. And one of the examples in the book is, woman is all excited, boyfriend's coming back from a business trip, she's picking him up. Maybe I've talked about this already, I feel like I have. She's picking him up, and they're going to go she's made dinner, she's bought his special wine, let's just say, or something. And she picks him up, and he's like, hey, gets in the car, and she's like, hey, I really missed you. I have this and this for dinner. And he goes, oh. She goes, yep, it's going to be ready as soon as we get back. And he goes, that's great, because that'll give me time to go meet with the guys when we're done. This pisses her off. She's put in all this time and effort. He's been gone. You've missed him. And she doesn't say anything, and she presses it down and presses it down. And then later in the book, as she's going through the therapy, and the therapist is the one writing this, and he's saying, she avoids this conflict, but she presses it down and starts to feel mad and resentful. And any one of us can pretty much relate to this story, right? So they're away on a trip, and it's supposed to be no business. They're going to do no business on this trip at all. And she goes to the bathroom, and she comes back out. They're at this beautiful resort or something, and he's pacing back and forth on his phone, and they're like, she can feel herself, right? What do we call that? I hate this term. Trigger. Fucking hate these. I'm being honest. You're getting the raw me today, because just wait. I'm about to really, really give you insight to me. I'm not unloading on anything. I'm unloading on myself. So she then goes and talks to him and says, hey, in a very calm way, I thought, was that a business call? And he goes, no. And he's trying to avoid, right? He doesn't want to piss her off, but it's up in his head. He's preoccupied, whatever went on. And she says to him a little bit later, hey, we agreed no business on this trip. And I feel like when I came out of the bathroom, you were doing the pacing that you do, and I believe you were on a business call, and it's making me angry because we agreed none. And the guy looks at her and says, fuck you. No. Fuck you. How do you think you're going to make money? Right. That would have made me fall out of my chair. He said what I think a lot of us would say. You're right. I was on a business phone call, and I'm sorry, we did agree to that, not to do that. She said the rest of the trip was fantastic, right? Because a lot of times we suppress things and we don't talk about it. I literally would say, I have no nerve endings. I gave my dad's eulogy. I have had people tell me that was the best eulogy. I've had a number of people, which I always go, one person, they're blowing a little smoke up your ass. 2 people, somebody else was drunk, and the other guy was blowing smoke up your ass. 3 people. You get a group of people who go, that was the best eulogy I've ever heard, and it makes you feel like, yeah, because I really like that. But I have to be very, very, very candid on this. It was a performance for me. It was stand-up comedy. It was all the skills I used to get through grad school. I can memorize things. I can absorb the things I really love. I loved my dad, but I never really, like people go, my mother would say, I don't think you've really grieved properly. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. No one showed me. All my life, I was always in trouble. I wasn't good enough for the standard that was put forth by the man who's now dead. And I'm learning that. And then when I look back at my life, here's the thing. You're supposed to mourn, I guess that's the term, right? Kind of when anything comes to an end that was special to you. So I'll go with relationships. I was engaged to a woman, could see that there was going to be some mismatches, or to be quite honest, I would cheat because I already was cheating because there was a part of me that wasn't being fulfilled sexually. I got it. Okay. Just again, being honest. And so I ended it, but got right into another relationship. They dovetailed. So you never had to deal with the pain of one ending because there was a new one beginning, and you were all wrapped up in the new beginning. And I did it then, and I did it after that. And for the past 5 years, I've been alone, no real dovetailing of any kind. And that's been good, but I've turned off feelings. That's what made me realize that I had really turned off any of my feelings to actually feel. And as much as those feelings suck, I'm telling you, that is the nectar of life. That's why you got to feel it all. Feel the elation, feel the pain, suck it, just stop, let it feel it. Because if you do, you're probably going to live better. Maybe you'll know that was so painful, I never want to go through that again. I'm not. You ever see somebody, and a lot of times we can see it better with a friend than we can with ourselves, but you go, yeah, he's with the same woman. She just has a different face. He's with the exact same woman, just a different face. I'm not saying that certainly about myself because they've all been very different. But my point being that there's a certain familiarity for us in our relationships with people. And you see it in the person, you go, gosh, this is going to end just like the other ones ended. And sure enough, later on down the road, it does end that way. And you're like, how come he keeps doing that? Or how come she keeps doing that? It's always the same thing. Because I don't think we've ever really come to terms with letting ourselves figure it out, being alone and figure it out. And even though I've been alone for 5 years, no real, tell me, have you seen me with a woman around? Many people who listen to this podcast are in my local area. No, I haven't. I haven't really talked. Only recently have I started talking about somebody on the podcast. And even there, I try to back off a little bit because I don't want to embarrass them, and I don't know how, whatever. But the point being that I haven't. So there's been no more dovetailing, but there's been certainly, I'm fucking turned off. My feelings are turned off to a certain extent. Like the deep feeling, the deep grieving of something. A relationship has ended. Give yourself time to heal, is what they say. Well, let me tell you something. As you get older, you start to realize how fucking important that is. That's fucking important to do. You got to kind of heal through it. And my thing was let's just find some new pussy. I'm sorry for being so descriptively stupid, but that is exactly kind of how I always did things, right? You avoided the pain of breaking off a relationship. You avoided the pain of doing things. You turned off your feelings. You had no nerve endings. Be honest with yourself. Tap into the feeling. Feel the fucking feeling. Feel it. Feel it. Let it just sit with you and sit with the feeling. It will pass. It doesn't have to take over your life. It doesn't have to be you're depressed and in a ball and never able to get out of bed. But feel it, recognize it, let it be your guide to things. Because when you have a cold heart, as I was told today, and you need to open those chakras, and I know for myself that I just have not, and that was a thought not with Gina, who did the Reiki, but on my own, and maybe through the mental health counseling a little bit here, that I just, the no nerve endings thing is not the right way to live. It's not. Use your feelings. Use your feelings. You don't have to be soft and wimpy and But use them as a guide. If something isn't working, either confront it in a very calm and natural way that you can talk to somebody and maybe work it out if it's in a relationship, or you have to decide that this just isn't for me. Be respectful and mourn the relationship. Be sad that it's over. Understand that there'll be moments maybe when you miss somebody or you miss certain things about that. But in the end, it's probably the better decision because you had the feeling and you weren't doing anything about the feeling and you were staying stuck. And when you're stuck and kind of miserable, when you're stuck and turned off, you're no good to anybody. You're no good to anybody. It's just the way it is, right? Just the way it is. Thank you for allowing me to verbally dump on you. I was going to say audio dump, but verbally dump my diary on you. But I do think that there are things that have been kicking around in my head that may help you, and I know are going to help me. Maybe this is one more for a Bill Lightman. Sometimes I like to reach the bigger audience, which is certainly at Billified, and I thank you for being part of that audience. It means more to me than I can properly express. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, my friends. Let's be honest. 2025 has been a lot between the news, the group chats, the price of coffee. I mean, most of us are running on caffeine and chaos. That's why it's time to hit pause and align your energy. My friend, an absolute powerhouse of peace, healer Sheila Tillich is here to help you shake off the stress, balance your vibes, and unlock your highest potential. I'm talking real healing here, not light a candle and hope for the best energy. Sheila works on a cellular level, releasing those old energetic imprints stored deep in your DNA. You know, the ones that pop up every time your in-laws visit. And listen, with the new year right around the corner, this is the perfect gift. Help someone deal with the issues in their tissues and start 2026 on the right foot. Plus, you can meet Sheila in person at the Let's Rock Market, Sunday, October 26th at Eaglevale from 10 to 4 p.m. Swing by, say hi, and maybe let her tune up your energy while you're at it. So go to SheilaTillich.com. Check out her holiday specials, see all the offers, and get ready to glow from the inside out. Because let's face it, peace looks good on you. Sheila Tillich, helping you heal one good vibe at a time.